see. Okay, says you're live, you're live, you're live. Cool, cool, cool. Hey there, YouTube. We're live at the Reverse Orangutan, Glendora, California. I'm Jesse Tovar, and this is Spoken Word at Reverse Orangutan. This event is put together by Author Pop-Ups, my project aimed at bringing authors to read their work at places like Reverse Orangutan. This coffee shop is one I enjoy hitting up whenever I'm in the area. In fact, before the pandemic, I would get a coffee or a latte, sit over on the white couch over there, and read my required texts and scholarship for my master's seminars at Cal Poly Pomona. Then one day, I found out about an open mic the shop would run, hosted by a barista at the time. After one of my seminars ended for the evening on a Monday, I went back to Reverse Orangutan and read one of my poems. It was overall a fun night with poetry, music, and craft can beers. I even gave someone from the open mic a ride back to Long Beach. Fast forward to this past April, I brought Spectrum Publishing and Four Feathers Press here for their San Gabriel Valley Poetry Festival. The event was an award ceremony to those who entered in their contest for their festival and to find out who won those contests. So today, I have two authors here for what I call a pop-up. They are both published by Flower Song Press. They two were together, and they most recently received pitches for manuscripts together at USC for Community Literature Initiative's Beach City Writers Conference. I want to say that experience must have been amazing because at one point, they were those authors who are currently looking for an independent publisher to turn their manuscript into a selling book. I have known of them for quite some time. I got to meet both of them in real life at Rayarte and Boyle Heights for Brianna Muñoz's birthday party back in May. Also in May, I participated in Backyard Poetry Open Mic in El Sereno, where Natalie Sierra was the feature. In fact, that is who is going to read first. In fact, this week she's even doing a work in progress for like a gothic vampire story, and she's been putting out reels of that on her social media, which I actually do find them very intriguing. And it seems like it was getting a lot of us ready for the Halloween season because not only is she workshopping that story, I know of another poet. His name is Johnny Tsunami, who's coming out with a gothic poetry book, and we'll be having like a couple of events like in the months ahead. Yeah, but yes. So please welcome Natalie Sierra.
Okay. My name is Natalie Sierra. I am a poet from Pomona, California. I'm going to tilt this a little bit because I'm very short. But I will be reading an excerpt from my debut novel. It's called Charlie Forever and Ever. It was published with Flower Song Press. And then I will also be reading a few poems too. We are home. We are nude now. Hours of painstaking research and late nights full of pills and little white piles of cocaine behind us. I do not remember how long I've been awake or alive. It's hurting, this life, it's hurting, but I have to finish it. I have to get through it, just a little longer. We are nude now, his back against the bed, naked flesh on the carpeted floor, sitting up, reading to me, caressing my legs with his free hand. I am laying on the ground, my feet on his golden thigh. We are nude now, and his hands are moving, running his fingers up and down the length of me. The timbre of his voice soft as he reads slim volumes of poetry, the paper booklets I've brought into the home. To whom do I dedicate my navel to, if not to you, my love? The first portal of my being, wormhole of democracy between mother and son, sheltered in the universe of her being. The center of it all has been discovered by you, brave soul, fair traveler. Do you dare ask for more? The book is cast aside, poetry by an unknown, a young female beggar poet whose book I purchased for $3 on the street corner. The boy god is breathing on my neck. His crush is like the ocean, the cold Atlantic that I cannot escape from, the sweet drowning death that comes to me in this cunning disguise, a man with skin like silk, the cracks repaired with gold. A man who places his fingers inside of me and moans into my ear, do you dare ask for more? His smile is my smile. We smile in the dark, and he fills me with himself over and over again. My wild boy, my iron Apollo, the things of the deep earth that he has comprised of are rubbed into my skin. The dirt, the diamonds, the gold, the dust of starlight. His fingers wet from my center and pressed into my mouth. Charlie, my God, Charlie. Oh man, I am eating myself. I am eating of him. We are the trees, and the fruit are ourselves. Thank you. My book is about Charlie, who is a scientist in the early 1990s, and they are on the brink of bringing the internet age to the world. And as she's doing this, she's also experiencing fluctuations in time and her first love, which is very chaotic. It's available on my website through flowersongpress.com. If you would like to follow me on Instagram, it's Pandora Demise, or Twitter, it's all Pandora Demise. And I would like to read a few poems to you. Everything I want. Cool breezes, gentle tongues, car stereos blasting my favorite disco beats, soft lovers folding their bodies across my sheets, great movies, hot coffee, a poem so good it makes me weep, the most comfortable dresses, enough gas to get me to heaven and back, a friend who knows how to navigate and answers messages in my voice, to be gone, to be loved, to be honest, able, ready, willing, to love, maybe, sometimes, maybe happy too, if it's not asking too much. This is called Ruthless Annie. Ruthless lovers cut the ties that bind, December embers, November landmines, smoldering eyes that burn my skin like cigarettes, stiletto kisses that trace down my neck. I have waited and wandered and aspired to this. Living room vapors, scented oil, spring sets. My mind is in the gutter and I haven't even had my coffee yet. I want to fuck you till you're black and blue. I want to fuck you and I've never even smiled at you. Caution, caution, people playing with fire. Ashes scattered. Used to be girls and boys, but now they are dirt, mud, dust like me. I am ash, spreading, rising, falling like your breath. There was no sign of you as I wandered around. I looked for you under stones and down the throats of the drowned. I looked for you in the roses growing by the side of the road. I asked for this longing, I said under my breath, to taste the flesh of your lip, aching like a violin string, taut, gripped. Black like magic, my mood was then. You took a cab, Annie, and left me again. Thank you. And now for my final poem. It's called Leonard Cohen Love Song. Let's stop pretending you aren't searching for my ghost in each set of vibes you meet over books and coffee and black and white TV. All I've ever learned from love is how to let it destroy me. Am I asking too much? You want to hurt, that's unspoken. But of all the hearts you've broken, mine is the one you still leave the window open to. Catch a glimpse of my body as I move about the room, remembering to forget you. All I've ever learned from love is how to let it consume me, counting each time I hold you in my mind, saying, I'm sorry every time you come back. Open the door to your body as it swells like a mountain in my head, suddenly there, as if I hadn't expected to greet you once again. And when your eyes meet mine, I know I'm going to give everything away. I've done it all before, so baby, tell me, why would I ever change? How could I ever change when I know this is what I achieve? Another day to dream of you, singing to me from the street below my window, windswept of all desire and of all the hopeful strangers that pass underneath.
Well, thank you so much, Natalie, for reading and thank for making this a reality for me and for reading here at this wonderful coffee shop that I like coming to a lot. I do, you know, what the vibes that why I like about your work is that it's very, I don't know if noir is a good way to describe it. Also, what I like is also again, like I mentioned earlier, I love all the gothic stuff that in your work, the themes in your work. This is why I wanted you to read here today because I am a fan of yours and I am gonna buy that book today before we leave. Let's see here. Up next is someone who has an awesome poem in his collection published by Flower Song Press. The title is Toxic Masculinity. He read one piece from that book, I believe, at Brianna's birthday party. I can't remember the name of the poem, but whenever he would sing What the World Needs Now, I and a few others sang along to that during that event. And then the poem flows on after that like portion of that song. It actually and then yesterday, what I like, yeah, it's a very interesting piece. I can't wait if you get to read the book, you'll see what I mean. Yesterday, I thought about Fernando when another poet went for an event I went to in Pasadena, like sang the chorus of California Dreams and then went on to like the rap kind of thing. So that was pretty cool. Like how I like when writers like do a fusion of like very like popular songs and make it their own in some way or another. So Fernando Salinas reads in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Hey, this is all right. I'm gonna back this up. There we go. I don't know if y'all can hear me, but I'm gonna do my best. There's a lull. It's nice and peaceful in here. I just had a chai. We're at Reverse Orangutan, and let me tell you, if might have to make chais illegal because I've never done coke, but I imagine this is what it feels like to have a chai and then be like zippity doo dah, full of energy. I'm reading from Toxic Masculinity. I don't know, is this reversed for you? Be appropriate since we're reversing anything. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna check my time. I'm gonna go for 20 minutes. So here we go. On my way to see colors. I'm on my Patamobile headed south on Hawthorne when two guys roll up in a drop Chevy pickup, hit me up, throw up urban American sign language, pointer fingers touch tips of thumbs like somebody who's counting to 3 or assuring you that everything is okay, but it's not if you're blood. Because this here soldier is a British knight repping hard, BK, blood killer, and he's so blue he could beat Grape Street. Jerry curl Jew stains a dark cloud onto navy blue upholstery. I look up at the blue sky and pray, then pan from my heart to the gutter to make sure that I'm wearing the appropriate colors for the occasion. It's late in 88. Easy E blasts through stolen Serwins from the Kenwood on the dash, probably a Fosgate amp and an Uzi on his lap. I'm wearing my Angel's hat, so when he starts to smile, I start to run. But before he started smiling, he lifted up the gun. Pissed, I was wearing my Payless sneakers. I juked zigzags into blind spots, ducked and dodged bullets past a pristine white 74 Monte Carlo. Backseat looking like somebody took a sawed-off shotgun to the cherry Kool-Aid man. Before I hit the corner, I knew somebody was dead. Someone bleeding red or so true blue. When I got home, I asked my Theo if I was a blood or a Crip. He said, tell him you're a Democrat or a Republican. Better yet, tell him you don't know or claim MOG. I didn't know what any of that meant. Later, I learned Democrats wear blue, Republicans wear red, and that MOG meant my own gang. Thank you. You should see the crowd here. It's incredible. There's hardly any seating left. There's a sofa, but I think people are a little afraid to get too close for comfort over there because it's broad daylight. You know, if it was darker, a little bit more, maybe some incense burning, there wouldn't be room on that sofa over there. I don't know why. This is a true experience, and I may have fabricated parts of it, but there's a guy, his name's Jeremy Rowley, and you'll see him on a lot of Geico commercials. No, not Geico, Progressive commercials. And he was there with me this night. And so when I'll just read this poem to you, and you'll understand we were kids, we were young, looking for trouble. This poem is called What You Won't Do for Love. I couldn't help but catcalling the fish-netted legs stepping through the industrial district in LA. 7th Street, just around the corner from Skid Row, we found big bosom, big thighed, big lip, big ass beauties looking for kids like us to buy their time, but we were so young. And I remember shouting profanities from the back of the pickup truck. Show us what you got, show us your... We just wanted them to show us anything we'd seen in bathroom stall magazines, and we just wanted to know what women really looked like, and we just wanted to have fun, and the street stunk, the salty and stale of dried cum and anal sex, but I didn't know it. The street smelled of desperation and despair, but we didn't know it, and we didn't know we had to be polite to women with big Adam's apples, and we thought the best way to pick up on working women was to call them baby. And I didn't understand when one of them shouted back, "Hey, baby, your mama, hey, baby." And we banged on driver's side windows of men with their eyes rolled back, getting blowjobs like we were playing Ding Dong Ditch on a boring Friday night. And we didn't know why the black as ocean at night streets were filled with dried up squid. So I can totally relate to how you are feeling. I can totally understand what you mean when you say you're tired of being alone. Good stuff, good stuff. Thanks. That poem is so nasty. I guess I forgot how nasty it is, but it's better if you were there. It's a trip if you were there. So toxic masculinity is split into two pieces, the boy and the man. And we're still in the boy section. Let's see, I have 4 minutes. I'm reading these too quickly. But another true experience. My grandfather was one bad hombre. He's a tough guy, military, ex-military, and we grew up in the barrio. You know, there were a lot of gangs, and my grandpa would go out there by himself and start fights with whole gangs. And this is kind of an incident like that. It's called A Tree Without Roots is Just Another Piece of Wood. 1. Here stands my grandpa, not Jose, because these are the times when white is right. So no way, Jose, but Private Joe Arzate, U.S. Army, a proud veteran, airborne wings tattooed on his log of a leg to remind him of the times he descended into combat. His eyes are black, lost in the shadow of his furrowed brows or the glare of summer sun. It's 81. Shirtless, sweating, rusty brown, and chiseled under thick black swirls of hair grown too long and wild over his ears. His fists are boulders wrapped in buffalo hide, clenched like his teeth, and he is snarling, muttering, "Never happened, never will," in a tone that sounds like a dare. 2. The Lakers are losing to the Celtics, and if that's not enough to make him sit forward in his recliner, the music thumping through the back of the neighbor's candy apple red 64 Chevy Impala is louder than the announcer Dick Hearn. It is more than my grandpa can tolerate, so after he slurps down a raw oyster and a shot of tequila, he marches outside. 3. Senora Sandoval is on her hands and knees, scrubbing away suns. I skip over the stream of bleach, spilled blood, and tears as it trickles down her driveway and into the street. A boy with his t-shirt stamped Hecho in Mexico approaches, and suddenly his head seems too heavy for him. It falls to the side, and his hands rise, fingers formed as though he's juggling invisible avocados. Kingi, my grandpa's German shepherd, appears in front of me. Kingi is taller than I am. The kid stops, then starts walking back towards his car. The back of his shirt says 100% Mexican. My grandpa takes a step towards the boy and says, "You better be going to shut that trunk. And if I have to come back out here again," he growls, "never happen, never will." My grandpa points a finger that seems as long as a Dodger dog and says, "You better listen here. I am an American. I fought for the land you snuck into, so you better have the sense to treat it and the ones who fought to protect it with respect." 4. Now it's Dodgers versus the Pirates, and the Pirates are winning by a ridiculous amount. When the game cuts to a commercial, my grandpa picks up the sports page and studies draft stats. I ask, "Grandpa, if you're an American and he's a Mexican, what am I?" He licks his thumb, turns a page, then replies, "You are a Chicano, mijo." I tell him, "But my birth certificate says I'm a Caucasian." And he chuckled. "Never happened, never will, mijo. Never happened, never will." Thank you, guys. Growing up, we spend so much time trying to figure out who we are, identifying ourselves, trying to figure out for ourselves and for others too. And now it seems like people are trying to identify so many different things: gender, pronouns, and race, cultures, and all that. I'm gonna stay in my youth. Let's see, I'm only at 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 12, I'm at 12. So I'm gonna do 2 more, I think. Let me just check. Let me jump. I could do 3, but yeah, I'm gonna do this poem. I'm an educator, teacher. I teach K through college, and sometimes I work at correctional facilities or continuation schools. And I've had a very interesting and challenging life, and yet so often I find that the youth that I'm working with have had even more challenging lives, or just different challenges that are horrible. And one day I've been ran over by a car, shot, stabbed, all this stuff. And one of this kid, his name's Victor. He said, "That's nothing, man. I got stabbed 7 times in the stomach and I lived and I'm still in school." And I'm like, "You're right." So what I did the rest of that class was have everybody tell me some of the worst experiences they've had. And so although this poem, I feel as though I'm the voice, it's really the voice of the students that I worked with during this class. This poem is called Resilience. See, I'm that cholo. The weight of my 9 got my pants sagging. I keep them crimped and baggy. I ride low on drive-by so I can watch the bullets fly while neighbors dive into pools of ancestral blood. This is how we survive. This is what resilience looks like. See me? I'm that OG straight out the penitentiary, the place they made me spread my cheeks to let that Huda take a peek, where I learned to keep my soap on a rope because I sold dope trying to cope with racialized unemployment. See? I'm the Metro member in the Immaculate Conception Shelter, wrestling life's dreams on a bottom bunk, listening to the man above murmur about dying. And that's my mother crying. She's the movement in the distance. Her resistance wasn't enough to keep them from raping her, but at least we got a roof over our heads and we're fed. This is resilience. Teacher wants me to talk about my feelings. You know what it feels like to be stabbed 7 times? Resilience looks a lot like me trying to get this GED, or the loca stabbed 20 times 4 months after being shot, taking pops at cops after bong rips and whiskey sips. Don't trip. Over the abuela scrubbing blood off curves with her tears and snot because these clica streets are hot. She can show you where lopped heads feed flowers, buried in the Barrio Botanical Garden, but not until after Sunday confessions to pedophiles keeping seedier secrets than hers. It's the kid still graduating college after his uncle got out of prison. You remember that, OG? He taught his educated nephew pillows taste like pain and leave you feeling emptier than that vato pushing a quarter pound of inexpensive death wrapped in pretty colored paper towards you. The stuff is killing you, but the job feeds him and his family, keeps his probation officer happy too. Resilience. It's reconstructive surgery after pig hooves concuss you into concrete cracks without repercussions or conviction. See, resilience ain't pretty, ain't something you want looking back at you in the mirror. Can you hear it? Me praying, dear God, this is my body. Do you even remember me? I look like closed caskets for children, for childhood friends, and bruised knees behind pews, praying you will forgive me for selling myself from corner markets, slanging lips on cocks, clocking blocks for ready rocks, and clumsy English, because Spanish is frowned upon. Listen, I didn't have to sell out to be sold from my classroom to private prison slave plantations. We used to call them chains, but now we call them cuffs, and we've all worn them. Enslavement feels a lot like resilience. This is my blood. I'm testing positive, spilling like oldie from 40s for lost homies. I'm the girl getting pushed around the ward in a wheelchair because I'm trying to kick meth, but I can't move my legs. Can't wait to get back to the boy with the sticky that makes my eyes roll back like 1,000 orgasms after one needle prick. I'm that meth head, walking dead, smiling because I have a few teeth left because I'm so resilient. Yeah, this is resilience. It almost kills us, but we got this. You've got this. You got it? All right, I'm gonna close with this one about my grandmother and conspiracy theories because there's a lot of them. We used to believe there were UFOs, and now that there are UFOs, we don't believe that they exist. What's going on with that? Joe Rogan's like, it's a government cover-up. I don't even know. Back when I was a kid and I used to ride bikes with ET in my front basket, nobody ever said anything. Nobody gave us a hard time. But ET was just somebody I was sneaking into the country. He was wearing a blanket. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. That was a cool little ride I took right there. I want to go revisit that one of these days. I'm going to write that poem about ET being my homie. This poem is called Conspiracy Theories because there's always been conspiracy theories, and they're conspiracies until they're proven true, right? What hardworking Chicana wouldn't see the microwave oven as a divinely inspired, miraculous invention to relieve the modern-day woman with 3 jobs of her obligation to cook for 5 kids, 4 living grandchildren, and a traditional machismo viejo? So for about a week, we became the scientific test subjects of the physiological effects of 10-cent frozen burritos on the human body. And if it weren't for my extremely paranoid tío Pancho and his conspiracy theories, my grandma would have never had to make another meal on the stove. It's population annihilation. ¿Sabes qué? The CIA is selling the inner city crack. It's population control. ¿Sabes qué? The AIDS epidemic is chemical and biological warfare genocide. Population control. ¿Sabes qué? I haven't seen any cockroaches in the kitchen since you got that microwave oven. Mira, if the cockroaches are laying low, maybe it's time to let that thing go. It's probably population control. They want to take out Chicanos first, microwave burritos and chimichangas, then Native American Indians with microwave popcorn. The Italians are probably going to be next. Just wait. There'll be microwave pizzas in every freezer in LA. I can't even watch the game with that thing humming its death song. All the radiation is messing up the reception. It's population control. ¿Sabes qué? It was back. The aroma of homemade tortillas and Folgers coffee at 5 a.m., waking to the sound of my grumbling stomach, papas frying in chorizo, eggs sizzling in tablespoons of butter, pink beans boiling with a dash of salt, a cube of pork, onions, and garlic, and my grandma slamming the cabinets to make sure she wasn't the only one awake before sunrise. Thank you all for listening. Hope you had a good time. Thank you, Jesse, for having me.
Well, Fernando, what I like about that last piece, it's very visual, and I like how you just bring back like memories of like just cooking, and it makes me realize that I'm a little bit hungry.
Me too.
Yeah. And then earlier when you read that one prose poem about like what you said was supposed like it's such a dirty poem, which I actually love the poem by the way. It makes me think about like a book I'm currently reading right now. It's Piñata Theory by Alan Chazaro, and both Fernando and Alan and they just talk about like how it is like grow up and be a teen and for guys to just like fuck around and do things. So I love that. Thank you. So right now what I'm gonna do is I just want to thank everyone that came to watch today, including Louisette Resto. Thank you. I appreciate you. And one of the reasons, like I had mentioned earlier, why I wanted to have Natalie and Fernando here is because they tour together. Libet also tours with them because right now, Flower Song Press, they have a lot of amazing authors in their roster right now where they just mobilize and get together. If you get a chance to go to a Flower Song Press event, please do go, whether it's like at a local bar, a coffee shop, a Barnes and Noble, and stuff like that. Yeah, museums, exactly. Yeah, they're everywhere right now. So right now, what I'm gonna do before we close, I just want to ask Natalie and Fernando a few questions about Flower Song because part of why I'm live streaming it too. Is so for those that just stumbled across my channel randomly, at least they can learn something about Flower Song Press and about the people that make it happen. So I know you two were most recently at the CLI Beach City Writers Conference. Sure. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I'll stand over here. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't want to stand in the middle of this?
Oh, wait.
Or we can flip over here. A little
Oh, okay.
bit.
All right.
We might tilt it. Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, go for it.
Maybe
Yeah.
you should sit down and we'll stand up. Since you're so
Yeah.
tall.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's see. Okay. So yes, as I was saying, you guys were at the CLI Beach City Writers Conference, and you guys received manuscripts, and I think part of that is because you just got in position with Flower Song, right?
Yes.
So-
as a acquiring editor. So basically, I will be reading through manuscripts and helping Edward pick out what would be a good fit for Flower Song.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And then you're also like your assistant because you were also there as well. So what was that experience like for you or for both of you guys to like just?
It was stunning to see how many people were in line for Flower Song because there were several publishers there,
Mhm.
but the line went back as far as I could see.
What?
People
Yeah.
that wanted to be part of Flower Song.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it was really surprising, but also
Inspiring.
inspiring.
That's it, yeah. Because I think one of the focuses that you'll see through Flower Song Press, you can see a lot of people of color.
Mhm.
And so often people of color have been dismissed by the publishing world. And this is a very solid troop. So the writers, the voices that come out of Flower Song Press are powerful and they're familiar and they're authentic and they're relatable. So being in the heart of LA, USC, there was people of color lined up as far as I could
It's amazing. Just diverse.
see.
I work at a bookstore, and I can't tell you how many presses are not as diverse, as Flower Song. So
Mhm.
it was, like I said, it was very inspiring. Oh, Fernando said inspiring. I couldn't think of the word.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, and that's another thing that I mentioned also earlier. And Brianna and Williams has mentioned this before in other events that you guys mobilize together when it comes to like doing like Flower Song press related events, and it seems like you guys are just constantly like on a tour, like a never ending tour. So what's it like being tour mates? I guess that's a good way to ask. Yeah.
I'll let you go first.
I love it. I came from a background of not really doing too much, maybe just staying very local. I live in Pomona, so I would basically just do little events out there, and I really didn't, think that I would be able to do what I'm doing today, and it's all thanks to my pressmates and to Flower Song.
Nice.
I feel like a traveler of space and time because we're everywhere at this point.
Yeah.
I never thought I was going to be able to keep up, but just this week we were supposed to be in Chicago also.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And a few of us were able to go. You've got Matt Cedillo and David A. Romero out there in Paris and all these
Oh,
different
yeah.
people. So it's fun, and we get to meet new people, and we get to hear the voices that are in those communities as well. That's one of what I appreciate. But as far as our pressmates, I love them. They're all really good. They're good people, and I think maybe that's why we keep going.
Wonderful. That's great. That's it. Well, thank you guys so much for just answering my little questions. And again, thank you both for reading and for doing something here at Reverse Orangutan, like one of my favorite coffee spots in this area. I'm good. What I am gonna do later on, as this video just is archived on YouTube, is write your guys' social media handles in the description of the video. And then just thank you all again for coming, and for those that are watching, thank you for watching. And I don't know when I'll do another like event here, Reverse Orangutan, but I usually do these kind of events all the time, like pretty much like locally between here, Arcadia, Pasadena. So I guess it was good for me to create a Twitter so I can announce when I'll be doing something like this next. And just thank you for tuning in, and you guys have a great weekend. Thank you.